Good morning, Council, staff. Great to be here on this beautiful day. A couple of things, statements I'd like to make before I ask a couple of questions. Number one, I think it's great that we were able to go from a $900,000 over budget to $24,000 in 3 months. That is an incredible feat of accounting acrobatics, and I'm glad to see it. What I see a couple of glaring omissions from the budget, and I don't think it's balanced either. One would be slide 19, the revised indirect cost allocations. I don't see an area in the budget that you presented that is set aside for that. So it seems like that would be an additional expense that we haven't considered. Also, the misunderstanding, I guess it was $250,000 that the fire department was counting on for those 4 positions that are left vacant for their overtime positions. So that's another $250,000 that I didn't see. So now to ask a couple of questions. Again, on slide 19, the revised indirect cost allocations, and this is for the loss of the redevelopment agency funding. Where is this going to go? In the position budgeting report that I have, I noticed that accounting line 352115, merged redevelopment administration, and 372000, merged low to moderate income housing funds, those were coming from RDA funds. So and this is, I counted at least 28 people in the staff that are making this. For example, art project coordinator, she has 20% of her salary, which is $11,857, plus benefits of $5,500. That comes from merged RDA funds, and there's a number of these. So is that where that indirect cost allocation, the supplemental appropriation, is going to go cover? Is it going to cover that? That is one of my questions. I'm going to move through these questions because I'm on a tight time frame, and then I'd like to get some answers, please. Clarification, at least, if I can. And then again, the $250,000 misunderstanding that the fire chief had with you, where I don't see that anywhere in here, so if you could point that out, I'd appreciate it. Third question, paying for the expansion of the 32 and the couplets. So that, I had a meeting with Bob Greenlaw last week. He explained to me that this was paid for, although it was paid for by taking the private development funds, which are actually a loan against the developer fees that haven't been paid before these developers are issued their COOs. So they're paid for with deficit spending, if I'm understanding him correctly. And then also they're paid for with the obviously the grant funds, but we have to come up with $2.8 million to reach that threshold. So I'm just curious as to why we are taking loans from ourselves, basically, to fund things that don't seem to be significantly important, especially when it only goes, the expansion doesn't even go to Bruce, it only goes to El Monte, and the plans are that it goes to Bruce.
Okay.
And then,
thank you very much.
Okay.
Our next speaker is...
Is there any, can I get some answers to some of those questions?
After the public hearing is closed.
Okay.
And...
Okay. With regards to the arts project coordinator position, that is going to be funded 10% from capital projects. There is a art component on many capital projects, so she would charge her time to the project when she's doing those projects. 75% is charged to the community agency program. There's art mini grants. We'll hear about that this afternoon. She charges 75% of her time. That is general fund. And then the remaining 15 is general fund, city manager, general administration. She was able to charge her time to the redevelopment agency when we had a specified art fund. That has gone away. A portion of this is one of those positions that is being absorbed into the general fund. A portion of the property tax that used to go to the RDA will be diverted back to the general fund in future years. And this is one of those situations where that money coming back into the general fund in the form of property tax will help fund these types of functions going forward. The question...
Please?
The public hearing is closed.
Well, but that wasn't my question. My question was the 28 plus positions that get a portion of their salary from the merged RDA funds. I just used her as an example. But where those funds are coming, used to come from the RDA funds, where are they going to be coming from now, since we don't have those?
From property tax.
All 28?
Well-
So I mean, the money that everybody sitting up here gets and other people for the RDA, from the RDA funds, is all going to come from property tax? Or is
No.
it from that supplemental allocation that you guys?
The supplemental has nothing to do with that. All the budget funds, however many people there were that used to charge the RDA, some of them are going back and charging different funds, some of them are being covered by grants, some of them are being funded by the property tax coming back in, some of them are being absorbed into a variety of different funds. An analysis was sent to the council members on exactly each and every position and what percentage of their time is now being spread to a variety of other funds. I don't have that off the top of my head, so I can't articulate it all. But it's all reflected. There is no supplemental that's covering anything related to the RDA. Other than, let me take that back, the 11-12 residual funding that's coming from the RDA originally was projected at about $178,000, and we ended up receiving $3,000. So we do have to bring back a workout plan, a supplemental, to address the 11-12 loss of property tax.
Okay.
That's the only component of the RDA that's in a supplemental.
Thank
Great.
you.
Where would I get that analysis?
Any member of the council member.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The other question regarding the $250,000 of fire, that we stated that clearly in the beginning, that is not represented in the budget because the information was just learned last week after the budgets have been printed. So that will come forward to you on the July 3rd meeting. The expansion of the Highway 32 and couplet projects, Tom will talk further about that, but that funding is not being paid out of a deficit. There's no deficit spending going on there. There is a grant match component that is being paid for by funds that we have on hand in the gas tax fund, and a potential of future funding coming from the TRIP program, which will be discussed later today.
Okay.